Hello, fifth graders. This is Eureka Math, and we are on Module 1, Lesson 6. Today's objective is to compare decimal fractions to the thousandths using like units and express comparisons with greater than, less than, or equal to. Okay, so just a little refresher for some of you. What I'm doing here with these symbols is I'm going to compare them, right? 3 is less than 5, and 4 is greater than 3, and 3 is equal to 3. So what I'm doing is I'm comparing two numbers. I just used whole numbers, very easy to understand whole numbers, but we are going to be using decimal fractions. If you have a hard time remembering which direction these things go, remember, and I learned this when I was a little kid, the alligator wants to eat the bigger number, okay? Right? So the alligator right here wants to eat the bigger number. Okay, so always remember that. Right? So 3 is less than 5. 4 is greater than 3. Okay, so let's go to the Learn page. Oh, I forgot to set it up. Okay, let me roll ahead. Lesson 6 problem set. Write your name on your paper. And show the numbers in the place value chart using digits. Use greater than, less than, or equal to compare. Explain your thinking in the space to the right. Okay, so here we have, and I'm going to write these in my place value chart, 34 and 223 thousandths. Okay. And here I have 34 and 232 thousandths. So when we're trying to figure out which one is greater, we're going to start on the left and work our way to the right. Okay, so here the 10 space, the 3 in the 10 space is the same. The 4 in the 1 space is the same. The 2 in the 10th space is the same. And then here we get to the hundredths, and I see 2 and a 3. So now I want to know which is the greater number. Which one is bigger, right? So the 3 is bigger than the 2. So there's that 3 right there. So this is going to go like that. Remember, my alligator is going to go for this number. So 34 and 223 thousandths is less than 34 and 232 thousandths. So I can explain that by saying 3, I'm going to say tenths, hundredths, is greater than or larger than 2 hundredths. This is pretty easy, so let's keep going. Okay, here I have 8 tenths. All right, don't be confused. This is 8 tenths and this is 706 thousandths, so you might think 706 is bigger than 8, but we are going to look at our decimal places in our place value chart here, okay? So, ones are the same, there are no ones. Tenths, right? We're only looking at just the 10th space. 8 is bigger than 7, okay? It doesn't matter what's to the right, because really it's just a bunch of zeros. So 800 thousandths is still bigger than 706 thousandths. And I can even say that if I want to. I could say 800 thousandths is bigger than 706 and 6 thousandths. As long as I'm comparing the two things, I know that this one is bigger than this one. So 8 tenths is greater than 706 thousandths. Okay, it doesn't matter what the word is. It only matters which one has a bigger value. Okay, so let's keep trying. And if you get confused, you can always use a place value chart or draw one on the side of your paper. Okay, 16 and 3 tenths, 16 and 4 tenths. Well, that one's pretty easy because the 1 and the 1 are the same, the 6 and the 6 are the same. Here, 3 tenths is less than 4 tenths, right? So less than. 83 hundredths and 83 hundredths. Well, just because they wrote it differently doesn't mean that it's not the same. Do you see that? All right, so these two are actually equal. They're trying to trick you, so be careful. Okay, here I've got 205 thousandths, which equals 205 thousandths. And over here, I have 5 thousandths. So, again, they're the same. All right. Now, 95 and 580 thousandths, or 95 and 58 tenths. I have a couple different ways I can figure that out, but let's just go ahead and draw a place value chart here. And I'm going to put 95, I'm going to put my decimal point here, and the top one is 95 and 58 hundredths. 580 thousandths. And the bottom one is 95 and 58 hundredths. Now let's compare. 9 and 9 is the same. 5 and 5 is the same. 5 and 5 is the same. 8 and 8 is the same. And 0 and nothing is still 0 is the same. So those two are actually the same. Don't get stuck. Okay. Now, do I need to do a place value chart for the next one? I can, but let's see if we can do it without it. Okay. 9 and 1/10. 9 and 99 thousandths. Let's just look here. 9 and 9 are the same, but let's look at the tenth spot. Here's a 1 and here's a 0. So which one is bigger? The 1 is bigger than the 0, right? Okay. Next one. 8 and 3 tenths. 83 tenths. Let's see. I am going to draw a place value chart for that one, just to prove to you. Okay, 8 and 3 tenths and 83 tenths. Now in yesterday's lesson we said that 83 tenths is the same as moving this one over here and calling that 8.3. So those two are the same as well. Okay. Next, 5 and 8 tenths, or 58 hundredths. This one I'm going to draw because I just want to make sure that I'm doing a good job. So, 5 and 8 tenths, and here I have 58 hundredths. So this is the tenths, this is the hundredths, so this would be 58 hundredths. And even if I move that over 5, 8, and erase that 5 there, the top number is still bigger because this is 0, right? The ones. So this one goes that way. 5 and 8 tenths is greater than 58 hundredths. I hope you're getting this. Are you getting it? There's a lot of ones that were equal in there. G, 36 and 9 thousandths. So let's write that in standard form, right? 36, oops, that's 9. 36 and 9 thousandths, okay? And 4 tens. Well, 4 tens look like that. So which one's bigger? This one. 200 and 2 hundredths, 2 hundreds, and 2 thousandths. So 200 and 2 hundredths would be 200 and 2 hundredths, and 2 hundreds and 2 thousandths would look like that. So 2 versus 200, well, this way, right? 158 thousandths, 158 thousandths, THS, so that's to the right of the decimal. So 0, 1, 5, 8. And here I have 58 thousands, right? So this one's definitely bigger. It doesn't have anything to the right of the decimal. 4 and 15 hundredths, and 4 and 15 tenths. Okay, I am going to draw my place value there. Okay, so let's see, 4 and 15 hundredths, and 415 tenths. So that would be 415 inside that box. So I can move the 41 over here and erase the 41 there. And then I can move the 4 over here and erase the 4 there. And what am I left with? 41 and 5 tenths. So 4 versus 41 and 5 tenths, so that's the bigger number. Okay. Arrange the numbers in increasing order. Increasing means going up. Okay. So I'm going to go from small to big. Okay. So 3, 3, 3, 3. All right, well, they all started with 3. So 3 and 0, 4, 9. 3 and 0, 5, 9. 3 and 0, 5. And then 3 and 0, 4. Okay, so we want to put these in the right order. Okay, and I'm going to add zeros onto the end here because any open boxes can always have a 0 in them. So what is the smallest number we see here? 30 and, well, 4 is smaller than 5, so it's either 49 thousandths or 40 thousandths. So 40 is smaller, so 0 is smaller than 9. So this one's going to be the first one. Then, well, 49, because 4 is still smaller than 5, is the second one. Then from 49 we go to 50, and then 50 to 59. Okay, so let's put them in that order. 3, 0, 4 is the smallest. 3, 0, 4, 9 is next. Then 3, 0, 5, and then 3, 0, 5, 9. So 0 and 3, and 3 and 4 hundredths, 3 and 49 thousandths, 3 and 5 hundredths, 3 and 59 thousandths. Got it? Okay. So I think using that diagram really helped, didn't it? So let's make another one for this one. Okay, let's see, 1, 2, 3, we're going to need 6 spaces there. Great, okay, the first one is 182 and 205 thousandths. The next one is 182 and 5 hundredths, but I'm going to add a 0 in that square. The next one is 182, and 105 thousandths. And finally 182 and 25 thousandths. Okay, so 182, 182, 182. So now we have to go to the 10th spot. And the 10th spot has 2 that start with 0, so those are obviously the smallest. So 0, 2 or 0, 5, which one's smaller? 0, 2, right? So this is 1, and that would make this 2. Now, again, we're going to go back to the 10th spot. 1 comes next, right? And then 2 comes after that. So 182 and 25 thousandths. 182 and 5 hundredths. 182 and 105 thousandths. And finally 182 and 205 thousandths. Okay, now we're going to do in decreasing order. So we're going to put the largest number first and then go backwards. Okay, so seven and 608 thousandths. The next one is 7 and 68 hundredths. The next one is 7 and 6 tenths. The next one is 7 and 68 thousandths. Okay, now that I've done that, I'm going to draw the zeros in. And now compare. So, what's the largest number here? Well, 7 and 6 is the largest. 6 is bigger than 0. And then I'm going to go to the hundredths. What's biggest there? Well, that's 8. Okay? So that's the biggest number there, 7 and 68 hundredths. So 7 and 68 hundredths is the first number. Then what's the second number? It's not down our, now 6 is bigger than 0, but remember this first number was 0, so it's between these two. Okay, well they're both 0, so now I'm going to go to the next one. 8 is bigger than 0, so 7 and 608 thousandths. Then the next one is pretty easy, 7 and 6 tenths. And then finally 7 and 68 hundredths. And finally, here's for the last one, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I need 4 rows. Okay, first number, 439 and 216 thousandths. Next one, 439 and 126 thousandths. 439 and 612 thousandths, and 439 and 261 thousandths. Okay, so we're going biggest to smallest, right? Decreasing order. So 4s are the same, 3s are the same, 9s are the same. In the 10th space, the 6 is bigger than 1 or 2. So 439 and 612 thousandths is the biggest number. Then it's down to the 2s, right? So if this one and this one are both 2s, I'm going to put a little number there, then I'm going to have to go over to the hundredths. And 1 is smaller than 6, isn't it? So this is the next biggest here. 439 and 261 thousandths. Then this one, 439 and 216 thousandths. And then the last one, 439 and 126 thousandths. 439 and 126 thousandths. Okay. All right, let's see. We've got 2 more problems, or 1.5. No, 2. Okay. Lance measured, I'm going to change colors just for fun. Lance measured 485 thousandths liters of water. Angel measured 5 liters of water. Lance said, oh, they've got beakers. They're doing science, I think. So a beaker is like a science tube for doing science experiments. Okay, so if this one belongs to Lance, and this one belongs to Angel, Lance's measures here at 0.485 of a liter, and Angel's measures here at 0.5 of a liter. My beaker has more water than yours because my number has 3 decimal places. 3 decimal places, and yours only has 1. Is Lance correct? Well, what do you think? Let's look at this. 0 and 0 is the same. 4 and 5 is the same. So in fact, this number is bigger, even though this number has 3 digits after the decimal. Okay? So Lance is incorrect. Because 5/10 is bigger than 485 thousandths. Okay? That period is just the end of my sentence. All right. Next one. That was a pretty easy one. Mr. Hong prescribed 19,000 liters more medicine than Mr. Tannenbaum. Dr. Evans prescribed 200ths less than Mr. Hong. Oh, I put division here. Minus 0.02. Okay. So that is Evans. And this is Tannenbaum. And this is Hong. Okay. Who prescribed the most medicine? Who prescribed the least? So let's see. I'm going to draw 3 medicine bottles here so you can get a visual. Because this is a little tricky. You have to use your brain. You have to think about what they're saying and read very carefully. Remember, first we're going to read, then we're going to draw, then we're going to write. Okay, so Dr. Hong prescribed more than Tannenbaum. So I'm going to say Tannenbaum's is right here. Okay? So let's say his is this mysterious number. I'm going to call it X. Okay, we don't know what his prescription is, right? We're just going to call it X because we don't know the number. But we know that Dr. Hong prescribed that much more than X. So his is X plus 19 thousandths. Dr. Evans, this is Hong, and this is Tannenbaum, and this is Evans. Evans prescribed this number, X plus 0.019 minus 0.12. Okay, 2/10. So basically, what we're deciding here is which one is the difference between Mr. Tannenbaum's. So okay. So this is 1900ths. And this is 2/10. Oh, how do I want to show you this? I'm going to use a strip here because I'm having a hard time describing this in a way that is not going to confuse you. If you already understand, awesome. Okay, here's what Tannenbaum prescribed. Hong prescribed 1900ths more. So we're going to say that this between here and here is 1900ths, okay? And Dr. Evans prescribed 2/10 less than Dr. Hong. Well, 2/10 is in fact less than 19,000ths, right? So wait a minute, I want pink, I guess. So this is what Evans prescribed because this is 2/10 less than that, okay? So, yeah, I think that strip is better than these buckets. Who prescribed the most medicine? Well, Dr. Hong prescribed more than Tannenbaum. And Evans prescribed less than Dr. Hong, right? So who prescribed the most? Well, that one's pretty easy. Dr. Hong, that's this orange one. Dr. Hong, I'm going to erase all this because I think I'm just confusing you. Slow time erasing. Okay. Okay. Dr. Hong prescribed the most. Okay? Because he prescribed more than Tannenbaum, right? Up here. Evans prescribed 2/10 less, which is even more than 1900ths, right? So his line is even below that than Hong. Who prescribed the most? Who prescribed the least? So Dr. Evans prescribed the least. And I feel like I want to show you this one more time because we don't actually need to do any math here. And sometimes I get a little bit ahead of myself with equations and trying to show you how they figured it all out. But really, we could just use a strip and say, this is what Mr. Tannenbaum prescribed. And Dr. Hong prescribed this much more, which is 19,000ths, and Evans prescribed 2/10 less than Hong, so that would be right about here, okay? Because 2/200ths is less than 19,000ths. I hope I didn't confuse you too much with that. Is greater than. All right. This is the right answer, even if you don't understand how I got there. I'm sorry. You have to think. You have to think about what it's saying. Okay? All right. Sorry for confusing you. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we will keep working on this in class.